Item 4, public session. Be it resolved that the board reconvenes public session.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We're now in public session. Item 5 is student presentation. We do not have presentation tonight. Item 6 is student representatives report. Are you going to welcome? Okay. Well, it's September, and we now have 2 new student representatives.
One.
One was last year's junior representative, Veer. But we want to welcome Raheem. Raheem is a junior at the high school, and I have received Raheem's resume. It's quite impressive. Okay. And he is actually right now Student Government Association corresponding secretary, and also very active in the community, and also with the public library, and doing some other work out in the community. So welcome, Raheem.
Welcome. Yeah, Mr. Baldessano and I spoke, and we know there was a lot of people who wanted that seat right there that you're in, and you were in good company. But congratulations, we're really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Is there a student representative's report?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. As with every year, everyone from students to teachers are excited for a new school year. But this year stands unique because all the adversity we had to overcome to get here. It feels surreally normal. It's how strange how normal it feels, because this isn't how it was for the last 2 years. The last time high school felt like this to me was when I was a freshman, and now that this year's getting started, I feel a sense of chaotic optimism. Now, on that note, some of the notable things happening around the school are starting of sports. So I know field hockey had a game today, and so did soccer. Soccer had a home game, and field hockey had an away game. And the marching band is going to start playing a football game soon. Not this week, though. Hopefully next week. And we're going to have marching band competitions as well. I know that there's clubs that are going to be starting up soon. We're intending on having club fair, the details of which are still going out and people are getting signed up. But this is going to happen to increase participation throughout the school. After a talk with Mr. Baldessano, I heard that currently we have around close to 70 clubs and activities, sports that the school offers, which is a really unique opportunity. It's not really found in other school districts, and it's something very unique to what Piscataway offers, and we want to encourage students to make the best of all the opportunities that are available to them. There's also a lot of information going out to seniors and juniors as well about scholarship, and I have to say that the college counseling department is doing a really, really good job at getting people ready for what's coming up for, obviously college applications and important deadlines for a lot of students, especially in my grade, and setting up other grades with opportunities which are going to help them into the future. And with that, I'd like to conclude my report. Pass the torch off to Rahim.
Thank you, Veer. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all well. Thank you, Dr. Connors, for the introduction. My name's Rahim, and I'm the junior representative. It's great to see you all today. Last time, I saw a lot of you at the Interfaith Iftar at the mosque in May. You could remember me as like the game show guy. Yeah. But yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Like Veer mentioned, students are beginning to get transitioned back into in-person. This year it's been much better getting settled back in. It's the second year fully in person, and I know last year was a bit of a challenge for students going from virtual to in person, but this year it's been much, much better. And I know freshmen usually struggle the most, transitioning from middle school to high school with like the building change and all the challenges that come with that. But I know that it's the third year of freshman seminar classes running, and that's been great with upperclassmen mentoring those underclassmen to make sure that they can navigate through high school and all the challenges that may come with it. I know this year we have a lot of things coming back that happened pre-COVID, like the Barcelona exchange trip. I know many students were excited about that. There's an interest meeting coming up soon for that. And I know the French teachers are planning a trip to Quebec for the next year. Yeah, so it's amazing. And Sodexo also started selling like chips, brownies, stuff like that. And I know many students.
All the important stuff.
Yeah. I know many students they're a big fan of that. So it's been great. And like Vera mentioned, the club fair is coming up at the end of this month, and the administration has been pushing to get students embedded into all these extracurriculars that the school offers. I know personally, like our assistant principal and dean have like meetings with all the juniors to make sure that they know about all those opportunities. And the homecoming and pep rally are booked for October. So, and I know we didn't have homecoming last year, so many students are excited for that this year. But yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Nice.
Anybody have any questions or any comments? Well, what I wanted to let you know is that breath of fresh air, Rahim, and what I've asked of you is that you run a game show on the history of the Board of Education using Kahoot to add a little levity to no, Rahim ran this using Kahoot, which is, if you haven't used it, it's quite fun. But again, thank you for being here with us, and
Any word on the Italian club? Are they doing any trips?
I have no idea.
All right,
I'll find out.
Thank you.
And also for Barcelona, myself, all three of my children went to Barcelona, and I hosted 4 times. One time didn't have to, but it was just such a great experience that it's a great program. I think it's going to be in its 30th something year. It's we skipped a few, but it was pretty good.
Sounds like he's sending you, so send him the bill.
So, thank you very much. You guys are great. We appreciate the information here, and you being here. So.
That Barcelona, is that like exchange, or you go there and stay for a while, or it's just like a week trip, or what?
I think.
Normally the students will first go there for
Uh-huh.
a couple of weeks.
Right.
And stay with a host family.
Right.
And they tried, and at the time that my kids did it, they tried to match them up with who they were letter writing with, or the
Uh-huh.
best family match. Then those same families with those same children got brought over here, the children brought over here, students over here for a couple of weeks, like maybe 2 weeks later. So the whole thing is like 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
2 weeks. And then, so they were already there, our students were already there, and then their students come this way.
Oh, okay.
And it's a great program, and if you want to open up your house and to them, and Mr. Eklund, who's retired, was really, they'd have field trips. So the kids from Barcelona would actually go down to Washington D.C., they go to
Statue
New
of
York
Liberty.
City, Statue of Liberty, and one of the best things that they really liked to do at that time was to go to the outlet mall in Elizabeth to buy jeans. As I recall, because that was a biggie. And then food shopping, because the foods are so different.
Yeah.
And so it's a great experience, and it's a great experience.
One of my close friends is they didn't personally go to Barcelona, but they had students from Barcelona come over, and so I got to spend a little bit of time with them, and it was a really like enlightening experience, because it's like a totally different world, and they have like a completely different perspective, and it's a really unique experience. Even if you don't end up going to Barcelona, the opportunity, it's also an opportunity to have people who have a different perspective, different view on things. It really is an opportunity both ways. It's really neat.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, this is not the same thing, but whatever happened to people to people? My son went on that for 20 days to Europe. Whatever happened to that program? People to people program? He was in Quibbletown.
You remember that? Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, it changed his
You
life.
gotta work on
Yeah.
But it does fit into the, we'll talk about it later, about the back to school nights, but the theme, that we'd like to get out there is to get parent involvement, and Because Barcelona is a good example of that, is, how to get people in Piscataway to open up their homes, because the more people that do that, the more students that can come, so that'd be a good thing.
Thank you very much.
Item, moving on, is item 7, which is...
Mr. President,
uh,
can we
Sure.
offer the students, if they don't want to stay,
You
they,
gotta hang around.
all right, just so,
Y'all understand?
Yeah, you can stay, we know if you have homework, you're welcome to go, we understand and we wouldn't be offended.
Football game,
Yeah.
Long
bills
first
and,
week.
bills
Long
and
first
rent.
We know.
So-
so you're not obligated.
That's really the-
Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure you had the offer.
So thank you, Mr. Johnson. Customarily, we say that you can go if you want. All right. We will then move on to item 7, which is the president's report. And my report is that it's congratulations to all our teachers, support staff, administrators, students, and families for a very successful opening of our school year on Tuesday. After a dry summer, Mother Nature decided to bring us rain for the first day of school, but that couldn't dampen the excitement we saw on the faces of all the children either starting school for the first time or returning from their break. As we embark on the new school year, each of our families and staff members should have received our annual school guide calendar. We've gotten that. And everyone can hold on to this handy publication to refer to throughout the year for vital dates and school information. You can find details on starting and dismissal times, district communications, pupil services, school directories, and much, much more. Funds to publish the calendar are provided through a grant from the Office of Community Education. If you did not get your guide and calendar, they're still available through your school. Children's Corner Preschool welcomed families for a back-to-school open house last Thursday, September 1st. Parents and students had the opportunity to tour the school and meet their teachers. Students got to play with their new classmates, see their cubbies, test out new toys, and join in learning activities such as classroom scavenger hunts. Dr. Anelli, Ms. Brenda Smith, and I visited each of the 3 locations throughout the evening, welcoming our youngest learners to Piscataway schools. Over 580 3- and 4-year-olds started our free preschool this past Tuesday, happy and ready to learn. If there's one thing in my time in Piscataway to celebrate, and that is the expansion and funding for preschool. It originally started here at the admin building, and then as a couple of parochial schools closed down, Cabrini and Our Lady of Fatima, those facilities, and so we're expanded out to them. And then with the governor putting it into his budget for preschool education, we recently leased a facility, and it's just amazing. It's fantastic, and I only say it on a personal note because my son now lives in another town, and if his child, my grandson, were to go to another school, a preschool, they'd have to pay. So I think it's a fantastic head start for the students, the children in Piscataway. Also, board members, you received a 2022-2023 Greater Middlesex Conference administrative pass in your in last Thursday's COS packet, communication from the superintendent's office. It allows you to attend, board members, fall and spring athletic events for free. So please take advantage of the pass and try to attend some of our sports events and games. And it's this, I put it in my here, and it's here, so you can show this at the gate and you'll be able to get in for free. If you want to know about the athletic schedules, you go to our website, you go to the high school, and you go under athletics, and there's a rolling list that is constantly being updated with changes and rain dates and so on of games. And so between the pass and between here, it's great to get out into the community and talk with people and see the games and so on and so forth. That is my report, and so I will turn it over for the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for a great opening of school, staff members, bus drivers, custodians, teachers, administrators. All the planning they do this week went extremely well. And I was able to visit all 14 of our locations. A lot of smiles and excitement, and as these two representatives, had said, I get a feeling of pre-COVID expectations. Like we're going to come, where it's going to be a great day. It's going to be normal challenges and not the challenges of I gotta wear a mask and be careful of getting sick. So we were really happy about that. We welcomed, as Dr. Connor said, or was on our superintendent report, our new teachers to Peeway, to our family, and Dr. Baskerville and his team took them through some orientation and things like that. So we were happy about that. Check out our superintendent's report on our website. Highlights include the opening of school, like I said, athletics, and some summer event recap. Also, for the first time, Mr. Miller, our public information officer, asked the community with the hashtag of First Day Peeway to submit pictures of their children going to school on the first day of school. And Dr. Connors and I and the board talk a lot about family engagement and school and district spirit, being proud of where we came from, and we're really happy. We got almost 100 submissions of pictures of kids coming to their first day of school, so we're really happy about that. The pictures are great. You can find them on the center of our main page of our website. Under district, click news, and there's different photo galleries there, which are really, really good. I want to thank the board specifically for all their support in everything we do. I talk about thanking the administrators and the teachers and bus drivers, custodians and paras and things like that. But without your support and enthusiasm, it would be very difficult. Running an organization of this size isn't easy, and you are all fantastic with your dedication and support for the things we do. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands that you're volunteers, number one. You give up all of your time to come here, and you're really supportive, and you have that Peeway pride, and you really love our town. So now I want to turn the floor over to our Director of People Services, Deirdre Ortiz, and she is going to give us a short presentation on special education in Piscataway.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody here, right? And Dr. Connors, thank you for the Chuck Eklund reference. That was a blast from the past. And and I was able to chaperone the French trip on one of their trips to France, so that was kind of neat. That was neat. Okay, so what I have for you tonight is really just kind of a state of special education as it exists today in Piscataway. It's fluid. Special education always changing, kids coming, kids going, being declassified, coming in. And we have a rather large department. This is just who we are. Myself and my 3 supervisors, without whom we couldn't run all the programs that we do. They're awesome. If you haven't met them yet, Ms. Brzezowski does our pre-K through grade 7. Ms. Voigt does the 8th grade through 12th grade, and then Ms. Lang, primarily the 2 programs that are here, but also a program at Knollwood and a program over at Arbor. Okay. So in addition to the what is currently 93 special education teachers and 77 paraprofessionals that work with our students on a daily basis, these folks really support our students. Our related service providers obviously are providing direct service in speech, occupational therapy, physical therapy. We also have 3 board-certified behavior analysts, which is a plus. They work primarily with our autistic population. And then our child study team consists of our learning consultants, psychologists, and social workers. Sometimes you'll hear them referred to as case managers. They also do that.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question? Not to
absolutely.
interrupt you. I'm just curious, I know I can see how many like LDTCs, how many, what's the caseload for like your child study teams?
It's about 40. The high school carries a slightly higher load. We have 3 social workers up there, so they tend to take on more cases because they don't test as much.
Right. Okay.
Okay, and currently we have 833 students classified in the district that are in district programs. We have 34 students out of district. And the students that we place out of district really are students who have extensive either behavioral, academic, or physical needs that are really beyond what we're able to provide here. And beyond the scope of what we're able to do. A nice addition is we do take in tuition students as well if we have room in the programs. So currently we have 5. There are 4 here in our PATS program, which is, I'll talk about a little bit later, and one at the high school. That fluctuates. Sometimes we have more. One year, I think we had like 9 or 10. It depends. Oftentimes, if a kid moves mid-year, they'll ask their district, please let me stay in Piscataway, and their district will send them back to us. Okay, so just as a point of information and a point of reference, we have 13 distinct categories under which kids can be classified as needing special education. In order for them to be classified, they need to meet one of these eligibility criteria set forth by the state of New Jersey, and they also have to have an educational impact to themselves. So perhaps you may have a hearing impairment that's completely taken care of by hearing aids, and you don't need there's no academic impact on you. So you might not need special education because of that. And you also need to have a specialized program. So all three of those, the special education need of the program, the eligibility category, as well as the educational impact kind of have to be in place in order to be classified in our programs. And this is, it's important that we do this right and we get it right. So our child study teams work very hard to make sure that they're not making students eligible that are not, and not making students eligible who are and really do need the services.
Ms. Ortiz?
Yes,
I have
ma'am.
a question
Yeah,
for
sure.
you. In terms of the 833 students that you have right
Mhm.
now that are classified with
Yes.
an IEP, do you have any data that supports the transition rate? So for those students who transition out of an IEP and go full mainstream into, regular general
Right now in this program, I didn't prepare that,
Fine.
but we can get that information. I would say historically, the greatest number of students who get declassified are the preschool going into kindergarten, because they may not need a preschool program anymore, a preschool disabled program, and they can go into kindergarten because they've done really well. And also at the high school, when they've met a lot of their eligibility, a lot of their requirements, and they're on track to graduate, and they really don't need the supports anymore. So that's where we see the two biggest drops in special ed.
Thank you.
Okay, and this slide really is just a tally of the number of students that are currently classified. As you can see, the majority of the students are either learning disabled or other health impaired. Other health impaired is a big one, right? So those are your kids who have attention deficit disorder and/or something else that's getting in the way of their learning. It could be, unfortunately, sometimes cancer, diabetes, anxiety, depression. We're seeing a lot of that right now. So that category has kind of grown a little bit in the past year or two. And then the other two that are kind of high are students with autism and those that have communication impairments. This is a breakdown of the classes across the buildings, the types of classes that we have. So our preschool disabled, we're keeping them to 2 buildings, even though we have 3. And that is by design, only because many of those students require occupational therapy and speech, and they need a lot of related service support. So to have those people kind of spread out across 3 buildings makes it a little difficult. So we are able to service them in the 2 buildings. And then you'll see the rest to the maximum extent possible. We try to provide programs on both sides of town. So you'll see in the autism classes where we have 7 at the elementary level, right, which we have some at Eisenhower and some at Randolphville. So we try to do that. Our resource students, as much as possible, we try to keep them in their home school. A little easier to do it from middle school up. In the elementaries, it's a little harder to keep them in their home school, but we try to keep them on the same side of town. And then this is just the total number of those types of self-contained programs. So these are the students that are not in general ed most of the day. They're really in a more contained environment. They have more needs. I apologize, I forgot to write out the labels at the bottom. AT is autistic, and that is our largest number of classrooms. And then we have our behaviorally disordered number of classrooms. Next to that are our language and learning disabled classrooms, our mild COG class. We have 1 multiply disabled class that's running at the 4-5 level, and the rest are preschool disabled.
Do you have like a relative number of like class sizes, let's say for like your class for students with autism?
We are right now pretty full. So, and the maximum class size for that is 6 at the elementary, 8 at the upper levels. And we are really full. Please, don't move it. And then this is the students per program. You'll see that the majority of students really are in resource and speech-only programs. So those are kids that are full general ed. The only thing they have is speech. Okay, and this is just one program that I'd like to highlight. It's the program that kind of happens after our students meet all their high school graduation requirements. It's run out of this building. The students spend half of their day here with us, and then the other half of the day out on job sites with a job coach. Many of the students have successfully found employment, and my next slide will show you some of the job sites that we have them placed at. Many of them have found jobs right here in Piscataway, which is really, really nice. We've had a lot of support from the community businesses that take our students. And then those that can't get employment right out of high school or right out of our program at 21 will be serviced through the Department of Developmental Disabilities and the Department of Vocational Rehab, and our case managers work with them to try to transition them as seamlessly as possible into the adult world, where things kind of change for them. Okay. And these are some of the job sites. The YMCA has been wonderful. We started there last year. Of course, we won't use the terrible COVID word, right? But it kind of impeded some of these programs, so we were really happy that they were all able to take us back. Our job coordinator, Mrs. Mutek, who works down here and also visits all the job sites, she's always looking for new places. So if you know of a business that might want to take on some students, feel free to let us know. We'll always look into that and see if we can add a job site.
Do you want the places to be close to Piscataway, or you're?
They should be in Piscataway because we use our transportation, yeah. And they're relatively close. They could do kind of like a shuttle service. Okay. And then we were very lucky, fortunate to get some federal funding through the American Rescue Plan funds, and these are some of the things that we purchased with those funds. A lot of new furniture and sensory systems for our students with autism, and we were able to redesign the kitchen at the high school. I don't know if those of you, I don't know who's seen it, but there's a kitchen off the faculty room that used to be a chef's kitchen. It used to be back in the days when we used to have culinary arts, as opposed to just.
We still do. People still
People
cook
there.
there.
Yes.
That's a nice one.
So that's a much larger facility. It's a large facility. I have a picture of it in a little bit. They redesigned it. We got all new appliances for it. It's really awesome. And our students in our autism and mild cognitive programs at the high school are going to get a lot of experience in there.
So that's going to be built into their program to do some more life skill
Yeah,
training,
yeah.
like right there.
Yeah.
That's a great resource.
Yeah. And we have a brand new washer and dryer. I mean, you'll see, they're state of the art. They're really nice. I'm happy to take you on a tour.
So we has a question for you.
Yes.
Sorry, so about David, when
Yes.
I was doing group therapy there, it was like, the group room was so jarring. It was like,
Hang on. I'm going to show it to you.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am. We changed it. So it's really nice. There's a picture of it. What else did we do? We got some new technology over here. We got some Promethean boards and some short throw projectors. So there's some more interactive type activities that we can do with our students, and we were able to get one up at the high school as well in their autism program. And then the redesign of the Haven. So let me show you the pictures. There it is. Now, it's hard to see on this, right? But it used to be dark, right? And there used to be all those orange cabinets, for lack of a better word.
You were in the kitchen.
Yeah, and the floor was like, not so great, right? So with some funding, it was great, we were able to get some furniture. Those couches on wheels, so they can be moved around and kind of resituated. And this was taken over this summer, so they weren't quite up and running yet. And then we also built some side rooms where they could have more private conversations. You like it?
Yeah, it's
Okay, good. Yeah, we're happy, we're real proud of that. Because it was dingy. And the new lighting, by the way, the new lighting makes it really bright too, so.
And I was in there the other day, those little cubbies are great too, they have nice little areas for some group sessions and things like
You
that.
like it? Yeah, right, not bad.
I mean, I've been there before, but it wowed me all the time.
So that's the kitchen area, so that's, that was built in, and on the side, it's hard to see on this picture, at least from here, but they put some food, and there's healthy eating, and I believe this was mostly painted freehand,
Yeah,
and then the Piscataway, like the actual words are actual, like,
really
put
nice.
put on, but it's,
Metalish type sign letters are great.
Who actually painted it?
I can get you the name, I don't remember, we went with the company.
I thought maybe the
Yeah.
art program.
No, we went with the company. We could, we had money, we could go with the company.
Because Rob Harmer in the athletic
He-
department have seen.
He saw it, yeah, he saw it.
Now he's like,
Now he wants it.
now he wants it.
And these are the appliances, they're all ADA compliant, like you'll see like on the stoves, the big industrial stove there, the knobs are in the front rather than in the back. So to, help make sure kids don't get burnt, starting the stove, so. And that's a pizza oven, that one on the right is a pizza oven. And then, here in this location, we were able to build a lounge where the students usually eat their lunch, and we tried to model it more like a college lounge. So it's hard to tell, but in the back, on that first picture to the left, in the back are modulars. So the kids, they just get up on them, they could sit way up high, they could sit low, they could, just figure out how they want to do that. We have some banquet seatings, and then the tables are high tops. So. That's it. Any questions?
Yes. First of all, congratulations as always. We've been through this thing for a long time. I mean, I have 4 kids here. My last one's in high school. The other 3 went to college. Thankfully to you mostly, because
thank you.
obviously 2 of mine are special needs, and that's the cohort that's dear to my heart. In the July meeting, I mentioned to this board and Dr. Anelli as well, one of the things I wanted to do with this cohort, and I really wanted you to look into it, was possibly doing some type of after-school program for the students to really help this cohort, the parents, and where it can be in one location, if we have to work with busing, whatever we have to do, because those families are always looking for us. They're traveling, trying to get back and forth to work. They're coming from 1 to 2. And to give some more level of normalcy, again, and creating the least restrictive area where they can just have fun, and then reward those teachers also. Engage with those students in a way that is just rewarding. The benefits outweigh the cost. So I would love for you to revisit that as well, and maybe
Okay.
give some solutions to probably trying to get that done.
Okay.
Because I'm out of here in December, and I really want to get that done before I go. So if you can look into it, tell
Okay.
us pros and cons.
Okay.
Maybe we can help you out, okay?
Okay.
Can I also, something that I'm thinking about, I'm a special ed teacher.
Oh, okay.
Which is where my brain
Nice.
goes. So I noticed we give a lot of funding for CBI, and we do a lot of community-based instruction for, a lot of our high school individuals who are in the autistic program. I'm also thinking, especially as you're talking about